right. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. This is our online presenters Speechathon, where members have the extra opportunity to give speeches and meet their educational and public speaking goals. Today we have a few speakers, and I just want to get straight into it. As far as evaluations go, we will have our first speaker, and then immediately after, we will have our first evaluator. Keep that in mind. The speaker will speak first, and then we'll have the evaluator go right after. We will also do that for the second speaker. The second speaker will speak, and then we will jump into the evaluation for that. That gives the evaluator this unique opportunity to give, in a sense, a speedy evaluation, 2 to 3 minutes. We have our lovely timer, Sarah Edenhen, who will be timing 5 to 7 minutes for each speech, and evaluations will be 2 to 3 minutes. We are down one evaluator, so for the third speaker, we will do a round robin evaluation. What is a round robin evaluation? Essentially what that is the opportunity for anyone in this meeting to give a 1-minute evaluation of the speech. Make sure within that 1-minute evaluation to give some commendations and recommendations for the speaker, and the round robin evaluation will last no more than 3 minutes. For the knowledge of our timer, just give us the red card when that 1 minute has been reached for each individual evaluator for the round robin evaluation. And for the formal evaluations, of course, green at 2, yellow 2.5, red at 3. All right, let's jump into it. Today, Toastmaster Elaine Nieberding, our Club VP Public Relations, shares her Visionary Communications Path Level 3 speech. It's the elective topic, Accentuate the Positive. She'll share with you how 2 leadership and coaching books helped her prepare for some truth-telling from the dental chair. Please welcome Elaine with the speech, Get a Root Canal, Have a Crucial Conversation. Elaine.
Mr. Toastmaster Lucas, fellow Toastmasters, and replay viewers, I had a root canal dental procedure Thursday afternoon, just a few days ago. Hey, can you see? I'm a little bit puffy right here on this side. It's a post-op condition I can't easily hide. Well, I'm not going to sing any more of Elton John's song. I want to get right into my story of sharing a crucial conversation with my new endodontist. I'm happy to say that I've come out of this experience feeling pretty good. And in spite of my current swelling, now I had a bad, a downer, a not good experience with a root canal 2 years ago. And because of that, I didn't want to go back to the same provider. In fact, I decided I would do what many people do these days. I would go online and search provider reviews to maybe make a better selection and have a good experience. That is the way that I found the endodontist who I'll refer to as Dr. P. It was also great that his office and practice happened to be close by, less than a mile away from my home. That was good. Now I ask, when you go to a dentist, especially, or any healthcare provider, don't you like TLC, tender loving care, so you feel safe, so you can relax, you can go with the flow as best you can. I sure do. And indeed, that was my experience for a big, big part of my time at that office. So how did that happen? How did that happen? Well, first off, when I went into the office, I could see it was clean. It was freshly appointed. I was told that I would have a 3D image of the area, like a CAT scan for my mouth before the procedure actually started. I came into that lobby feeling comforted and trusting because the atmosphere was so tranquil. There was a fountain in the corner, bubbling and making those relaxing sounds. There was a white noise machine. There was a beautiful graphic on the wall that while I was waiting to be tended to, I could gaze into and relax. That was wonderful. And then when I met the dental assistant and the doctor, they were warm. They led me through the process, explaining what was going to happen, what was the information revealed in this new specialty picture that had been taken. And I could tell by the happy demeanor of the doctor, he listened well. I felt trusting. I felt I was going to have a good experience here. And then to top that off, I was handed this set of earphones so that I could relax as I reclined in the endodontist chair and just drift into relaxation as best I could with beautiful, beautiful music. So it was sad when my TLC experience changed about 2/3 the way through the 1.5-hour visit. TLC didn't feel like tender loving care then because it was talking and loud conversation between the dentist and the assistant. Maybe they thought my earphones were just going to block everything out, but it didn't.
5 minutes.
As I went on, I was wondering, how do I give the doctor feedback? Early on, I was thinking, I want to write something on this review about this practice because I was feeling like the doctor was a 15 on a 1 to 10 scale, but now I was going to have to dial that way back. But while sitting in the chair, reflecting on the loud, non-caring to me conversation, I asked myself the central question, one that I use in my daily living to generate value in living and serving. This great question, what choice can I make? What action can I take now in this moment to create the greatest net value? And that's when I got clear. At the end of this procedure, I was going to have a truthful, crucial conversation with Dr. P. Now,
6 minutes.
telling the truth can be a win-win if you have the conversation in the right way. And I learned about that from a recent book I've been engaging with called Crucial Conversations. And it sets up how to establish not only a safe space or enough words that create, you want to be helpful and you want to engage in a pool of shared meaning. And indeed, that's what I did with Dr. P, because we're both healthcare providers. And I wanted him to know that I was disturbed by his loud conversation, but everything else was just wonderful. Well, what was the outcome? It was a win-win. He reflected back to me
7
how
minutes.
valuable it was for me to share the truthful information with him. And he promised he would never again do that in his practice. He was truly sorry. And so I left that experience feeling wonderful. I had told the truth. I had used skills I had recently learned from coaching, and I had a win-win outcome. And I think I'm even going to write a really good review. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Elaine. It's very nice to be able to apply what we read about, what we learn to real life experiences, and in this case with your dentist. All right, let's get on to our evaluation for Elaine's speech. With that, I would like to yield the floor to Elaine's evaluator, Mr. Krishn Ramchurn.
Yield, Mr. Toastmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Elaine, for your emotional journey. It was an emotional journey from my perspective. And I believe you met the purpose of your speech project, which was for you to practice being aware of your thoughts and feelings, as well as how it impacted, as well as the impact of your responses on others. Those two elements in your speech purpose were clearly outlined in your message from my perspective. How? Here's how. You took me on an emotional journey. You started off by singing to me, which really grabbed my attention, forced me to listen to you, got me smiling, and I was in a better mood. And as you went along, you told me, I heard the following. You were moved from being a bit stressed into a comfort zone, and then back into a stress zone. And another element I really enjoyed was the use of the mnemonic TLC, from tender loving care to talking loud conversation. That was well done. And as you went along, I could clearly not hear, but I could feel with your descriptions of the white noise machine, the graphic on the wall, the music, those emotions that you were sharing. Thank you. That was enjoyable. Now, how do we take this emotional journey and we elevate it? Well, I've got two little recommendations for you, Elaine. Recommendation number 2 is the way you started. I would have, if I were you, I would have started straight with the song and then moved into my story. I heard you saying, Mr. Toastmaster, and I heard you saying the following words, which are taboo. I want to get into my story. Why do I am exaggerating here. I want to get into my story creates a disconnect between you and me. But you don't let me down because it's only at the start. And my first recommendation for you, Elaine, is you make a good case on how to not only be aware of my emotional responses in moments of stress, how they can fluctuate, but also how to make the best out of it. The recommendation here is, what would you like me to do? I heard a lot. I didn't hear clearly those recommendations. My call to action, what is the element you want me to do? Go read Crucial Conversations, go take the course, or change dentist or doctor of dental practice. So those are my recommendations. Having said that, what I enjoyed the most was you being present in the moment. You had the right vocal presence, the right physical presence. It was not distracting. It was not boring. Far from those two elements. It was entertaining to the best of yourself. Thank you so much for sharing. I look forward to your next speech, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. And for the benefit of our first speaker and evaluator, Madam Timer, if you can post their times once you've recorded them into the chat for their viewing, I will wait on you, and then we will move on to our second speaker. All right, fantastic. Elaine and Krishn, you can see your times below. Now let's move on to our second speaker of our Speechathon. Have you ever had an experience so unusual that you are left asking the question, was that real? Our next speaker is going to be working in the motivational strategies path in the level 3 project, Increasing Knowledge Using Descriptive Language. Giving the speech titled, Was It Real or a Dream? Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Andy Bern.
Thank you very much, Lucas. Fellow Toastmasters, functionaries, dignitaries, and those that are watching this later. I'm going to share Project 3 in Motivating Strategies. Was it real? I want to share the fact that words have power. We're going to do something called painting word pictures. Communications is what we do in Toastmasters. It's how we communicate emotions, ideas, and thoughts with others. And we're going to do that today. We're going to connect emotionally with the messages that we have, and words can help take up a cause. Words have the ability to link our reality to others, to share what we have in our dreams, to define how we feel about spirituality, even death and God. I'm going to introduce 5 concepts that I want you to think about as we're going through and later after the talk. That's the call to action, to really think about these things. We're going to talk about astral soul, hallucinations, the dream world, sleep, and out-of-body experiences. We've seen many of these things in movies. I want to take you back more than a half century ago. I was a student in my first year of college, away from home. I was very different in my appearance than I am now. I weighed 126 pounds. I had a 26-inch waist. And I went through a day, 20 hours a day, sleeping usually less than 4 hours. I was always active. Was not on drugs, and the time frame for this story is May of 1968. When you look back in the history books to that time period, it was a time of social upheaval, the Vietnam War, the Flower Children, free love, and a lot of activity for people that were activists. This is a picture of what I saw out of my room on the top floor of the study hall building, looking out over the campus. And I would go there during this time period to do studying. I was finishing up my semester. It was May. I had 5 more final exams to prepare for. That's right, 5 exams. And I was exhausted. As I'm sitting there studying for the exams, I noticed a pounding of my heart, a sweating to my palms, and feeling lightheaded, saying, what's happening to me? Am I going to pass out? The next thing that happened was sort of astounding. I felt a little bit like this picture that we see from Dr. Strange in 2007, where you have an out-of-body experience. Your astral soul leaves your body, and you can physically look down on yourself from above. And that's what I was seeing. It was scary because I remembered seeing some movies like Poltergeist and other ones that talked about what death would look like. Did I die? Is my soul leaving my body? It felt very strange. It felt like I was light as a feather. But then, as I looked through the window to that courtyard I just showed you, I found myself on the outside, from about 10 stories up, like I was a bird. flying high above the crowds, having the wind take me to wherever my eyes would take me. At this point, this is a map of the court, and I was in the buildings below the circles here, and wound up going all the way to the top of the slide, to the buildings over there. While I was doing that, I had seen two friends that said, this can't be, because one of those friends was under house arrest in Buffalo, 7 or 8 hours north of Stony Brook. What was he doing there? This can't be real. It felt a little bit like the Disney attraction Soaring, where you're out there flying around. Flying around out of your body is a central theme over the last 6,000 years of recorded history when they talk about out-of-body experiences. I guess the desire for a person to fly like a bird and look at the world from a different perspective is a very powerful thought. And it's involved in many different cultures when they talk about their out-of-body experiences. As I look back, I then felt a suction, a pulling of my soul going back to where I was. I felt like I was tracing back the steps that I had taken before. All of a sudden I was back at the building, like a ghost passing through the building, now back in the room where I was. And I saw myself unconscious, laying there. Soon I felt this tremendous attraction, my body sucking and reaching out to my soul, pulling me back in. What could have caused those things? Well, those are the things you hear described in hallucinations, and I wasn't doing LSD or mushrooms or anything like that, but I might have been prone to the effects of sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is when you are deprived of the two components that you need most during sleep. And those components are REM sleep and deep stage 4 delta sleep. REM sleep is when we dream. Delta sleep is when you do physiologic repair in your body. The military has long learned that sleep deprivation is a powerful inducer of hallucinations and weakening of your sense of reality. And when going through that, you become very suggestible as well. Was all this a dream? Was this something that I just thought about, or was this real? I ask this question for you to think about. Sleep is important. We spend 1/3 of our lives in sleep, and we do that for a reason. Without sleep, we would all die. And I mean a horrible death. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Andy. Yes, sleep is important. I recently read a book all about sleep science, very insightful. Now, I would like to call on Andy Bern's Evaluator for his speech. Donna Knight, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Was it real or a dream? To tell us about your experience, your out-of-body experience today, and tell us what is a possible side effect of that, or what caused your dream or your out-of-body experience. I am a fan of Doctor Strange, so to see it and to be used for that experience, and it's usually used for when you're having an operation, really made me pay attention to say, this is possibly what it looks like, because we've seen the movie, for those of us who have seen the movie. So that visual image was very good in making us understand what you felt like, what you were experiencing. Here is your body and something else is happening down the road. And therefore, when you moved from one area of the campus to the other, I was seeing the fact that your body was left one place, but your spirit, let us say, was somewhere else. And even in that, your sense of reality was still there, as you said, but hold on. One of these individuals who is at this venue is supposed to be somewhere else. So from your story, I realized that your out-of-body experience is not out-of-mind experience. One of your objectives today as well was supposed to be about using visual language. And you talked about the pounding of your heart and the sweating of your palms to give us an idea of what is happening to your body as you moved along. When you were floating, you used the term light as a feather, so we could see that you had no control over this movement as you were moving. And therefore, when you said you were not on LSD, I did understand a little bit more about your movement. As you develop your skill of telling your story, I am going to encourage you. When it's a story, was it real or a dream? And you go into the Dr. Strange or whatever imagery you're going to use, visuals to get us to understand. I am going to suggest that you hit us with a story. You started by saying, I am going to, and I'm waiting for you to tell me because it's part of the storytelling skill. So hit us, grab us, let us float out there for a little while you're exploring and sharing with us what it is that we're going to understand when your body, so to speak, when your spirit comes back to your body as you continue the storytelling. You are working on your vocal variety and you hit it at some places, especially when you spoke about the tremendous attraction when you were moving back, that pulling back into the body. At first I thought you were slowly moving when you talk about trailing, but then your voice grabbed me and told me it was a yanking back into the body. Of course, similar to Dr. Strange. As you continue developing your story, what you did at the end was to tell us some facts, that here is sleep and it is a serious thing, and to get us to understand that it is important. I'm left on a little cliffhanger because while this is important, I know you have a time constraint, I'm going to encourage you to perhaps ask us to stick around and speak with you more as you tell this kind of story. Thank you for sharing. Stay in your body, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much for your evaluation. Madam Timer, if you can post the times for both our second speaker and for our second evaluator, that would be very appreciated. I see Andy's there and Donna, fantastic. Let's go ahead and move on to our third speaker. Our third speaker will be presenting the first speech.
Donna said that she, excuse me, Mr. Toastmaster, Donna
Yes.
said that she said she couldn't hear me. I mean, she couldn't see me. So she couldn't see the changes in the time.
Okay.
So can everybody see me now? Can you see
Yes.
me when I change?
I can see you.
Oh, okay.
I certainly saw you during the...
My apologies, not your fault. I just forgot to, since I was talking to Andy, I was looking at him and not gallery view. So it's not your fault. My apologies.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure everybody could see me.
Great. Yeah, you are certainly in view. All right. Our third speaker will be presenting his first speech of his Distinguished Toastmaster project, giving the speech titled, "It Works When You Work with Others." Please welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Krishn Ramchurn.
Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, make your audience remember you. How hard can it be? How hard can it be? How hard can it be? That's the question that everyone in one little weird committee have been asking themselves last year until now. How hard can it be to make your audience remember you? Well, what they decided to do, and it started with two people from Online Presenters, one of the founder members and immediate past president, Lois Margolin, and our current president, Nick Lacani. They decided to have a virtual Toastmasters conference on the 5th of December, 2020. Why? I don't think it's because they had nothing else to do. It was because they had a vision. And I was lucky enough to be with them as special advisor on that team. And moving on in 2021, especially June 2021, I found myself as co-chair of the Virtual Toastmasters Conference. So how hard can it be to make your audience remember you? Well, that is the theme of this June 2021's two-day conference. Make your audience remember you. And that is my DTM project in 2021. And my personal vision for this project is for the audience attending the event to remember the June 2021 event as not the top, but as one of the top 5 Toastmasters events of 2021. Why? Because there are other events happening, and we want to be remembered as the top 5 in 2021. And my goals are the following. Number 1, to empower and equip. How? Well, John Maxwell tells us that teamwork makes the dream work. And I'm guessing you're going to agree with me here that no man is an island. Well, no man or woman is an island. But where am I going here? We cannot achieve that conference that's coming up by one person doing everything, or even 2 persons doing it. We need a team. And guess what? We have not a team, a committee made up of, not enough fingers to show you, 8 teams. I do have enough fingers, 8 interesting teams. And we reflected that we may need one more team because of the amount of work that is happening. The thing is, when we empower and equip, we want it to be a win-win situation where it's not at the expense of my time or at the expense of someone else's energy. And that's my other goal with the empowering and equipping part, because I am working with 4 of those 8 teams, namely the contest team, the liaison team, the program team, and the Zoom team. And I'm not working with them because they're all highly independent and performing leaders on their own. I am collaborating with them. And the win-win is happening because I understand them and they understand me. And it's a natural trust. I hope it's a natural trust. But it takes time, it takes energy, and that's where I am developing. The next goal I have is to improve as a leader. Now, Warren Bennis tells us that leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. And it's so hard. It's so hard because till now, what I realize is this vision I haven't shared it in those words with any of the people I'm working with, because I felt they may be scared. I felt it may push them away. I felt I didn't have the confidence to do so. But what I'm going to do tomorrow in our next team meeting, I'm going to stand out and shout it to everyone. Well, not shout it, but speak it out. By doing so, I will not only make myself accountable, but I will match my vision to what I am wanting to do. I'm looking forward to doing and delivering. Because if I'm not leading by example, how can I expect others to do the same? So those are the 2 big goals I have. So what's the plan? Well, the plan actually started in January 2021. And fun fact, it's not going to stop in June 2021. It's going to go on until December 2021. Am I going to stay on as co-chair? I don't know, but I am thinking along with my other co-chair, Toastmaster Pamela Benjamin, who's also a member of Online Presenters, we need to think about legacy. And that's one of those hidden goals that we don't really talk about, but we keep inviting everyone. So when you come on, think about what's going to happen next. Think about being on the committee, taking a role that is more important, that builds your leadership skills. I have at least one person here, now two, I believe, who's on that committee with me. They can tell you how it's like. Sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's boring. I don't know. I like to hear from them later on. But the whole point is this vision I have of the VTMCon, Virtual Toastmasters, being the top 5, one of the top 5 events of 2021. It's only a vision right now, but my dream is for it to be down the line in a few years, to be the online event which Toastmasters will not want to miss. It will take time, it will take perseverance, it will take collaboration from everyone. But hey, like Walt Disney mentioned, if you can dream it, you can do it. So join me. If you're not on the committee, consider being on the committee, not now, but later on down the line, because we need you to make it happen. And we cannot do it alone. So how hard can you make, how can it be to make your audience remember you? If you have people working with you, it's not hard at all. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Krishn, on giving us some insight on your vision for the VTM Con, not just now, but your vision for it in the future. Now I'd like to call on Krishn's speech evaluator. I put in the chat that Jeanette Francois will be giving the formal evaluation for Krishn's speech. She was made aware of this when she hopped onto our meeting. Take it away, Jeanette, whenever you are ready.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Krishn, for your speech, and you did a great job, according to me. I like your energy. Your energy was very good at the beginning of your speech because it helped engaging it helped to engage the audience. Afterwards, your tone of voice subsided because you had something to explain to us. You were explaining to us about, like the theme of the conference, which is make your audience remember you, and you explain it with you in your development by talking about that it's part of your DTM project. And also, you talked about something that I find in certain points, which is first to empower, and by making committees to help you with your concept. So I think by doing so, it gives us a trail to follow you with the subjects that you were going to talk to us about. And also you talked about, the different teams, which I find very good, because even myself, I could learn from exactly what you were doing. And also you talked about your vision. And I find that it's true, because when you talk about your vision, you did a lot of gestures with your hands, and your hand gestures were appropriate with what you were saying. One thing I noticed is that sometimes I find that your vocal variety was a little bit monotone. Like when you said something like you shout it out. I wish I wish you could have shouted it, like what you were going to say, so that it could make a difference with your tone of voice. And also you could have paused a little bit more, because you were going linearly, but if you could have paused sometimes, it could have helped us more engage us a little bit more as an audience. There was a call to action in your in your speech, and the call to action was to encourage the people or the audience to take more leadership roles, and it's also part of your vision that the VTM Con would become the event not to miss. I find also that you also included a quote that I find interesting, which is, I think it's a Walt Disney quote, which is, if you can dream it, you can do it. That was very nice. Thank you, Krishn.
Thank you, Jeanette, for your evaluation. We have gotten to our destination. We had 3 amazing speeches, 3 great evaluations, and we had the extraordinary support from our timer. And now I would like to hand it over to our presiding officer, VP Education, Krishn Ramchurn. Oh, and Sarah, yes, you are ahead of me. If you can enter in Jeanette's time as well. Okay, fantastic. Very, very fast. Let's hear it from our presiding officer, Krishn.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster, and please unmute yourself, everyone. And let's give Lucas a big round of applause. He deserves it. On a Saturday morning, he sacrificed his lunch, he sacrificed his afternoon, he sacrificed everything to be at online present as well. I hope not. I hope you can catch up on your Saturday later on, Lucas. But thank you, my friend, for doing such a great job. And it's actually a delight to have you on the committee of the VTM Con project. Okay, so what's going to happen next is table topics. Because you're here, let's have a go at table topics and see how we perform with impromptu speaking. Now, here's the thing. This is going to be not your normal table topics segment. Why? Because I'm going to be asking you unanswerable questions. These are really weird questions that maybe a kid will ask you, or someone who's just like in Andy's speech, who's having a weird experience will ask you. So one thing I want you to do is have a call to action in your speech as you deliver the speech. That's my challenge to you. Have a call to action. And Madam Timer, can you please help me with the time here? 1 to 2 minutes. And when it comes to you, I will also ask you a question, at which point can I ask Lucas to take on the timing when it comes to Sarah's
I can certainly
turn?
do that. Yes, I can do that.
Okay, great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Here's the first question. If God created Adam and Eve, did they have belly buttons? If God created Adam and Eve, did they have belly buttons? I apologize already if it's a religious statement I just made that's going to go against your beliefs. But if God created Adam and Eve, did they have belly buttons? And this question goes to Toastmaster Lucas.
Thank you for that question, Krishn. And despite them not, at least from our conception, being born in the way that we know of people being born for thousands of years, maybe they had, because maybe it's a cool feature to have of the human body, and without it, they would have felt empty inside. They would have thought, man, something is certainly missing. So with that in mind, I think they would have had belly buttons, because it's a little bit of a roadmap, a format, a template of how humans would look like, generally speaking, for millennia to come. With that in mind, they could certainly have not had belly buttons, because they were in this view the first people to have been born. But in the end, it's completely arbitrary. So I will leave it at that. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lucas. It is a weird question, but here's the next one. This one's going to be a test of character as well and show us about the person's character, which is a good thing. So the question is, which armrest is yours in the movie theater? Which armrest is yours in the movie theater? And this question goes to Donna Knight.
Both of them are mine for one simple reason. I do go to the movies alone. I go to the movies alone. I go in Jamaica, I go on a Monday, which is a day that I think over the years, the people who go to the movies alone go. And so you usually have quite a bit of space. And when you see the regulars, even if you say hi, we go and we sit across from each other in front. And so you have both armrests. And it allows you to just be relaxed and enjoy the movie. The reason I go to the movie alone, I believe, because when I was growing up, I used to watch movies with TV with grandma while everybody else is watching TV together. And so by the time grandma falls asleep, you're alone. And then the older I got, I'm used to the silence and nobody's asking me what happens next. Every now and then, I try to go to the movie with somebody, and not really the last time, but the time I went to the movie was to watch The Beautiful Mind with a group of Toastmasters. And I was enjoying the movie, and the person to my right decided to give away the one key thing in the movie that took it away. And she was on my right and took away my armrest. So to this day, I don't go at this time because of the pandemic, but when I go back, it will be both of them are mine. I will freely give it up on the plane, but in the theater, in the cinema, they're mine. Toastmaster of the day.
Oh my God, I can relate to you. I also go to the movie theater alone. Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much for sharing. And here's the next weird question. How far east do you have to go before you start going west? How far east do you have to go before you start going west? And this question goes to Toastmaster Andrew Bern. Please unmute yourself, sir.
That is a fascinating question. As a ring is a complete circle and there is no start point or end point within that circle, the Earth is a planet, and if you go around that planet, you come back to where you started. It is arbitrary to say that this part represents a day part and this represents a different hour part. It goes back to the fact that people rely on what they could see. They saw the sun, they saw the moon, and that's why you have different calendars. In the Hebrew calendar, for example, or the Muslim calendar, there are 13 months. Same is true for Chinese. You have 13 months because it's based on a lunar calendar of 28 days. The Christian calendar is a 12-month calendar. So that's a different structure. But as man was working and living, they didn't initially have a Timex or an Apple Watch. They were going by the environment they were in, and they used the moon and the sun to gather time and to determine where they were. Same thing for the sailors as they were traveling around, using the stars and the celestial bodies to determine where they were on the planet. It's an artificial imagination of man to say that you are this place, that place, different time zones. Time is infinite as it wraps around. Thank you very much for the question, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Andy. For the remaining two speakers, please consider the challenge. Have a call to action. Thank you. Because these are hard questions, by the way. These are hard questions. Here's the next question. If a word is misspelled in the dictionary, will we ever know it? If a word is misspelled in the dictionary, will we ever know it? And this question goes to Toastmaster Sarah Edahan.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master. If a word is misspelled in the dictionary, we would absolutely know it because we would Google it. And we would get right on our little computers and we would look at that word and type it in, and Google would tell us, this is the word, this is how you spell it, this is how you pronounce it, and this is how you use it. So that we would know that if the dictionary, because the dictionary probably was made with somebody typing all the words in and then they had to, however they had to put them together and had to be printed and all of that, could have made a mistake, but Google never makes a mistake. Google is absolute and you can bet your life on it. So at any time when you think you want to spell a word, don't trust the dictionary. Get your computer and Google it. Google it is the best way to go. Of course, all my friends Google it. My husband Googles, my kids Google, even my little grandbaby that's 7 years old Googles. So you can't, all of them can't be wrong. So don't bother to go to the dictionary. Get your Google it. Mr. Topics Master.
I'm speechless. Thank you, Toastmaster Sarah. You made your point. It was clear. It was impressive. Let's Google it. It's absolute. Here's the last question. Toastmaster Jeanette Francois, which orange came first? The fruit or the color? Which orange came first? The fruit or the color?
Okay, thank you, Krishn, for this question. Which orange comes first, the fruit of the color? Well, I think it's the color because the color is so bright. The color of an orange is so bright. It reminds us of the sun, and the sun is what gave the orange its color, I think, or maybe some genetics with that. With the hereditary factors of a fruit, which is the orange. And also the orange has dimples in it, which helps us, makes us smell it, that creates a scent for the fruit of the orange. And when we go deeper, when we peel the orange, then we have the fruit that we can eat and that we can enjoy. So which one comes first, the orange or the color of the orange? Well, I think we need both, okay? Because I can't think of an orange without the bright orange color or the yellow color without having a fruit in it for me to eat. So I think it's both. And I encourage everyone to eat an orange because an orange a day keeps you healthy and keeps you alive with a great dose of vitamin C. So eat an orange every day for your vitamin C intake. So thank you, Krishn.
Thank you. You managed to put in a healthy call to action. Thank you, Toastmaster Jeanette.
Yes.
Thank you for entertaining me with those silly and weird questions. I hope you enjoyed it. We now have reached the end of this meeting. It was short and sweet. I have only one announcement to make. Is the webinar contest coming up in less than 48 hours, I would say. Is it? Yes, it is 48 hours from now. All the roles are filled. Yes, I'm happy and relieved to say that all the roles are filled already. Thank you everyone who's participating. On this note, I'm going to officially close the meeting. Before I do that, I would like to invite you to let us know if you have long speeches, because one of the reasons we set up this Speechathon, it was to accommodate 2 long speeches. Unfortunately, those speakers could not be present. So if you have long speeches and you want Speachathons outside of the normal Monday meetings, let us know. We'll try to arrange them for you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a safe weekend. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.